ahead in the creation of a new zoning code for our city. R1 has been a focused area of attention. A couple of years ago, the county commission voted on July 21st, 2021 to reduce the square footage of a lot size from 7,500 to 6,000. And as we move through the zoning code assessment and being a part of that conversation, I am hearing from senior staff, and I'm not going to put Mr. Anderson on the spot here, but if he would like to confirm that the thinking across the board is to increase density in all zoning. That is the direction we are headed. Well, Mr. Anderson, there you are.
Yes, sir, it is.
Can you confirm that for me?
Confirmed.
Confirmed. Well, that's simple enough. And some of the numbers that I believe are coming down the pipe, this could create a situation that the community really did not want. So in the beginning, we had 31 proposed, a number that residents opposed. And the PUD allowed for 27. Given the numbers that I believe are coming down the pipe very soon and proposed to council, the number of homes that will be allowed in unrestricted R1 on this property could go from 40 to 48. That I can tell you the residents do not want. When we talked about this last week, that information I had, we were talking about a difference of 2. Now we are talking about a massive difference. And given what I heard from the community, and not everybody was opposed, by the way, 28 was a number that was mentioned out of the community meeting. Several came up to me afterwards and told me that 28 would be more acceptable. And 40 to 48 under a new zoning code in an unrestricted R1 with 0 conditions, I just do not think that that is the right way to go for the communities, given the concerns that they shared. In short, this information regarding the proposed direction of R1 gives me even more concern for Gray Road residents. The denial of the PUD will create unintended consequences beyond previous anticipated density numbers. Restricting the density count with the PUD, I believe, is the best option to address community concerns and provides a host of conditions that came out of the community meeting. Unrestricted R1 status addresses none of those concerns and leaves the community without assurances. I wanted to share that information as you watch what's happening at Planning Commission. When you watch what happened last week at the County Commission, we're starting to see the unintended consequences of not getting involved and working together. And I think that moving and allowing for this to stay unrestricted R1 and possibly up to 48 homes is just the wrong direction to go. So those are my concerns. That is what I was hoping to lay out before council in my motion to reconsider this item. And I'll yield the floor to any questions. I'll do my best to answer.
All right, thank you so much, Councilman Ledford. It's on the floor currently. We have a motion to reconsider with a proper second. Any additional comments or questions? Okay, I don't see any. Madam Vice Chair.
I appreciate what Councilman Ledford has brought to us, and his points are well placed. Something that did come up in the conversation last week was around a condition on the Gray Road PUD request that that would have disallowed accessory dwelling units. And that is a topic that this council carefully considered and carefully developed legislation for, to allow accessory dwelling units alongside R1 properties, and is an important part of creating density in a way that is tolerable for many people and also provides for multi-generational living. So I would like to add an amendment to this. And so in the form of a motion, I motion to amend to remove the final condition on the case. I'm sorry, y'all, I have a migraine. My brain is just a little foggy. It was condition number 7, no accessory dwelling units allowed within the development. I'd like us to remove that, if I can get a second on that.
Gotta have a vote on the motion to reconsider first, and then you can move to it. It's good.
Reconsideration first.
I believe we need a motion to
Reconsider.
approve.
Right.
Consideration.
Is that true?
We need a motion to reconsider,
Well, I
approve.
made that motion to reconsider and
And
it
it's
had a
been-
second. So
yes.
we get-
Not voted to reconsider.
Correct.
So we need to vote on that first.
All right. All right, we have a motion to reconsider. We've had comments or questions. All in favor of reconsidering 2023-0117? All in favor? All opposed? All right.
Madam Clerk, I make a motion
Said no.
to approve as read into the record and recommendations coming out of planning commission.
All right. You have a motion on the floor to approve.
I will second that.
Okay, it's been, motion and properly second. All
And
right.
now I will make the motion to amend by removing condition number 7.
All right, can I get is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have the amendment. Any comments or questions about the amendment? All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, do we have a,
Motion to approve as amended.
all right.
Second.
All in, any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, council, we made it through that.
Yes.
All right. All right, can I get approval on the minutes? I'm sorry, is there anything else?
No.
All right, second, okay. Minutes stand without objection. We have several ordinances on the final reading. If there is no objection from council, we can take items A through J as a group. If there are any objections or anything we need to pull out, please hit your light. All right, Madam Clerk, if you can do items A through J.
Item A, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 3111 Kelly's Ferry Road from R1 residential zone to R3 residential zone, subject to certain conditions. Item B, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 217 Tremont Street from R3 residential zone to ERM3 Urban Edge Multi-Unit Residential Zone, subject to certain conditions. Item C, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 5026 Old Godsey Lane from R1 Residential Zone to C2 Convenience Commercial Zone, subject to certain conditions. Item D, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to lift condition numbers 2, 3, and 4, and amending condition number 1 from ordinance number 9135 of previous case number 1989-0046 for part of a property located at 5431 Hickson Pike. Item E, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone properties located at 5138, 5144, 5150, and 5157 Strickland Drive, 5422 Old Hickson Pike, and an unaddressed parcel in 5400 block of Old Hickson Pike, from R2 residential zone to R3 residential zone, subject to certain conditions. Item F, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 6011 Lee Highway from C2 Convenience Commercial Zone to UGC Urban General Commercial Zone, subject to certain conditions. Item G, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 7283 Bonnie Oaks Drive from R4 Special Zone with conditions and R1 Residential Zone to C2 Convenience Commercial Zone, subject to certain conditions. Item H, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 510 South Willow Street from R4 Special Zone to C2 Convenience Commercial Zone, subject to certain conditions. Item I, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone an unaddressed tract of land located in the 3100 block of East 26th Street from R1 Residential Zone to UGC Urban General Commercial Zone, subject to certain conditions. Item J, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone property located at 2000 Dodson Avenue from M2 Light Industrial Zone to R3 Residential Zone, subject to certain conditions.
Right, Councilman Ledford, followed by Councilman Smith.
I defer to Councilman Smith, Madam Chair.
All right, yes, Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Did not realize at the time, but there are two items on here that I need to move to defer.
All right.
So I would like to just name items D and E. I would like to set aside. I'm fine moving to approve the rest as read, but I will have a separate motion on D and E.
All right, thank you so much, Councilman Smith. I have a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, thank you so much. It's been moved and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item D and E, I'm going to move to defer for 3 months,
All right,
whatever that day is.
Second.
all right. So we have a motion to defer for 3 months, items D and E. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. Ordinances on the first reading, Madam Clerk, item A.
An ordinance granting a franchise to Unity Fiber LLC for the purpose of allowing it to construct, install, and operate certain telecommunication wires and cabling within the public rights-of-way in order to provide telecommunication services within the city, setting forth conditions accompanying the grant of the franchise, providing for regulation and use of the system and the public rights-of-way in conjunction with the city's right-of-way ordinance, and prescribing penalties for the violations of the provisions herein.
Councilman Ledford.
Move to approve.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Madam Clerk, item B.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone properties located at 1115 and 1117 East 14th Street and an unaddressed property in the 1100 block of East 4th Street from R3 Residential Zone and RTZ Residential Townhouse Zero Lot Line Zone with conditions to RTZ Residential Townhouse Zero Lot Line Zone, subject to certain conditions.
Right, is there applicant present? Is there any opposition present? All right, Councilwoman O?
So is the applicant present? I don't see.
No.
Okay, so, Madam Chair, I'm gonna ask you to defer this one more time. And if he does not get in touch with me, I will definitely deny.
Yes, ma'am. So we have a motion to defer
A motion to defer for the last one.
for 1 week.
For how long?
For 1 week, Motion to defer for 1 week. We have a second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Madam Clerk, item E. I'm sorry, item C.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone part of a property located at 1710 South Holtzclaw Avenue from R2 Residential Zone to UGC Urban General Commercial Zone, subject to certain conditions.
Okay, is the applicant present? Is there any opposition present? Okay.
Is the applicant here?
No, ma'am. No, I see no applicant.
Oh, Lord.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What I would like to do is to defer this for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And my concern here is the UGC that would allow, a hotel. And that's a problem for me.
Okay, and it's in the form of a
In the
motion?
form of a motion, yes.
Okay, I have a motion and proper second to defer this for 2 weeks. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Madam Clerk, item D.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone property located at 2910 Calhoun Avenue from R2 residential zone to UGC urban general commercial zone, subject to certain conditions.
Okay, is the applicant present? Is there any opposition present? Councilwoman No, I again see no applicant.
Okay, no applicant in front, and once again, UGC is a red flag for me. It's opening up Pandora's box, and I am going to refer it for 2 weeks
All right.
until there can be some strict stipulations placed there.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that's in the form of a motion. Okay?
All right, it's been motioned and properly second to defer for 2 weeks. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Madam Clerk, item E under transportation.
An ordinance closing and abandoning an unopened right-of-way in the 7500 block of Overcup Oak Trail as detailed on the attached maps, subject to certain conditions.
All right. Councilman Ledford.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Madam Clerk, item F.
An ordinance closing and abandoning an unopened public right-of-way located in the 3400 block of Olds Avenue as detailed on the attached maps.
Okay. Madam Vice Chair.
Madam Chair, this is in your district. I move to approve.
Thank you. Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Madam Clerk, item G.
An ordinance closing and abandoning an unopened right-of-way located in the 400 block of West 35th Street as detailed on the attached maps.
Okay, Madam Vice Chair.
Madam Chair, this is also in your district, and I move to approve.
Thank you so much. It's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Madam Clerk, if there's no opposition, we'll take items A and B as a group on the resolutions.
Item A, a resolution confirming the appointment of Sharon Mickle to the Hickson Community Advisory Committee for District 3 with a term beginning on September 20, 2023 and ending on September 19, 2025. Item B, a resolution confirming the reappointment of Whitney Brazil to the Head Start Governing Board for District 7 with a term beginning on September 20, 2023 and ending on September 19, 2025.
All right, council? All right, I have a motion.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Madam Clerk, item C.
A resolution to accept a materials donation valued in the amount of $70,000 from Clean Sweep Products LLC for hazardous materials, response supplies and materials, including absorbent pads and socks, overpack drums, industrial rugs, spill kits, and similar items.
Councilman Henderson.
Move
followed-
approval.
All right, then, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Madam Clerk, item D, the alternate version.
A resolution authorizing revisions to the Employee Information Guide, EIG, to be effective upon approval. Revisions include Policy 1, Purpose and Objective, Policy 2, General Provisions, Policy 4, Personnel Human Resources Records, Policy 6, Outside Employment, and Policy 8, Separation of Employment, and authorizing formatting and table of contents updates.
All right, Councilman Ledford, followed by Councilwoman Knoll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Daniel, last time to make any changes? No? Move to approve, Madam Chair. Thank you for your hard work, Daniel.
All right, we got a motion to approve. Councilwoman Knoll?
I have a question that was brought before 3:30 but was not answered for me.
All right, just a second. So we have a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, got a motion and second. Any comments or questions? Go ahead, Councilwoman Knoll.
Yes, comment and question here. So I spoke to you a minute before we ended the last session.
Yes, ma'am.
And it was 8.3, the second paragraph. So what I would like to know is, how does that coincide with the civil service employee? If an employee is a civil service employee, how does that equal out?
So civil service in this state is employment in local, state, or federal government where their position serves the public. That's the definition that you asked for. So 8.3 is existing language with no changes proposed. But the second paragraph, this is reduction in force, and it provides for 2 weeks' notice in the event of a reduction in force? Is that?
So, yeah, I know what it says, but
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
asking you, how do the two equal each other? Because it seems like to me they're counteracting each other. If you think of a civil service employee, that's a person, if you're going to move them from, if a department decides or a department head decides that they no longer have enough work in that department, then that can be a reason for them to let them go. So what happens to trying to put them in another position? And how do you know that if they're letting them go is for a fair and impartial reason?
So the department head will determine the positions. It's not determined by the person, but it's determined by the position that they deem may no longer be necessary going forward, or they don't have the budget for. So it's by position, not by person.
Okay, but whether it's position, okay, it's by position, not by person, but there has to be a person in that position.
There may be
Yeah, so-
a person in that position, but not always.
Okay, so, but 9.9% of the time, it's probably going to be person in that position. Can you
Actually,
say that?
No,
No?
actually, we do look for the vacancies first.
Okay.
And the part-time positions, and the temporary positions, and the seasonal.
Okay, so. So a department head can say, I don't have enough work, so I'm going to let someone go. So when you let that person go, you do not seek to put them in another department where they can maybe be of service, or you just give them their 2 weeks and they gone. What about if they're in a position where they are at the stage of getting ready to retire, and then they lose that and they have to start all over again?
So actually, we did reassign 4 people almost immediately the last time that we had layoffs. So there's a matrix for how that works out, but we immediately try to reassign those folks.
With much more than 2 weeks' notice. This is the minimum requirement, the EIG is providing the minimum requirement. And prior to this past spring, we have not had a reduction in force in some time. But this is laying out the minimum requirement. So, and again, these are not changes that are before you today. So we're happy to have additional conversation with council as needed offline to go deeper into the reduction in force language in the EIG. But those are the minimum requirements. We went way beyond the minimum requirements and did attempt to try to help match, folks, especially with lateral movements where we could, with open positions this past spring. So, but we can talk more about that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, any additional comments or questions?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. All right,
Thank you, Madam Chair.
all right. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. If there's no issues from council, we can take items E through I as a group. All right, Matt, go ahead, yeah, I'm sorry. Just wanna be focused.
Item E, a resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's appointment of Darnell Walker to the Head Start Governing Board for a term beginning on September 20, 2023, and ending on September 19, 2025. Item F, a resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's reappointment of Matt McDonald to the Historic Zoning Commission for a term beginning on September 20, 2023, and ending on September 19, 2028. Item G, a resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's appointment of Rosalind Ruffin to the Office of Family Empowerment Board for a term beginning on September 20, 2023, and ending on September 19, 2025. Item H, a resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's appointment of Laura Wright to the Stormwater Regulations Board for a term beginning on September 20, 2023, and ending on September 19, 2026. Item I, a resolution authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a subrecipient agreement with Legal Aid of East Tennessee for an amount not to exceed $566,000.
Right, council, you've heard the readings. Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion's passed. Are there any appointees here today that were just appointed to a board? If so, if you would stand. All right. Well, if you're watching, thank you so much for serving the city. We appreciate you. Also, I do see Megan here from the Community Foundation. Thank you so much for your service with the eviction prevention program. Madam Clerk, item J.
A resolution authorizing the City of Chattanooga to apply for and, if awarded, accept a Blue Cross Healthy Places grant in the form of amenities for the renovation of Sheila M. Jennings Park in the amount of $4,725,000.00.
All right, Councilman Ledford, followed by Councilwoman Coonrod.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Move to approve. If this is no objection from your district, I can't see why you would. And
Yes, that's fine. Thank you so much for the motion.
Second.
Located at, all right. So it's been a motion and proper second. And Councilwoman Coonrod, where is this park located at? I've never heard of a Sheila M. Jennings Park, but I know we have her name on the recreation center. And the west side, is that what we're calling a park?
At the Sheila M. Jennings Park Administration, Parks.
Yeah, this is the park over in the west side near Collegeville Courts.
What park?
The
There
tennis
is a
courts?
building called, which is the community center, but there is no park.
Well, there is a park.
It's where the basketball courts are.
Yes.
You see this?
Oh, you talking about where the tennis courts at? Is that what y'all call a park?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, we see, okay, all right, okay.
All right. Any additional comments or questions?
Y'all giving parks a whole different meaning.
That's why we gotta do the work.
Hey, all right, any additional comments or questions? All right, all in favor? Okay, all opposed? Motion passes. If there's no objection from council, we can take items K, L, and M as a group. Okay, Madam Clerk?
Item K, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to enter into an agreement with Gresham Smith for updating the plan set, bid book, and estimate for the manufacturer's HAM Gateway Multimodal Pathway to current TDOT standards for an increase of $8,000 for a revised contract total in the amount of $279,595.00. Item L, a resolution amending Resolution Number 31396 for the professional services on-call blanket contract with Architectural Services Contract Number E-22-026-101 with Allen and Hoschel, Inc., R-Tech Design Group, Inc., Durthick, Henley, and Wilkerson Architects, PLLC, Franklin Associates Architects, Inc., Hefferlin Cronenberg Architects, PLLC, MBI Companies, Inc., and Rarden Carroll Architects, Inc., to increase the estimated amount of $2 million by $4.4 million for a revised estimated amount of $6.4 million due to additional contract utilization by the Sports Authority of the County of Hamilton and the City of Chattanooga, Tennessee for the South Broad District Ballpark. Item M, a resolution authorizing the appointment of Kurt Martig as Special Police Officer unarmed for the Department of Public Works Land Development Office to do special duty as prescribed herein as Landscape Inspector 1, subject to certain conditions.
Okay, got a motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? Councilman Henderson.
I do have Chief, and I should have mentioned this at 3:30, and
Sure.
Madam Chair was moving so fast, I just couldn't keep up. Actually, this was in Public Works Committee, so I can't even blame her. Anyway, I just want to make sure that we keep the manufacturers that are on Manufacturers Road engaged in this process. And I know we've had an administration change since we started this process, and there is some concern about what we're doing there. So let's make sure that we keep those manufacturers that's there on Manufacturers Road engaged in this process.
Okay.
Thank you.
We can definitely do that. And we'll keep you in the loop.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All
I'm
right.
good, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Any additional comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Madam Clerk, items N and O.
Item N, a resolution authorizing an annual spend limit for the existing First Due blanket contract number PA 100422 for the Fire Department's record management application to cover the assessor data add-on module additional expense for an overall blanket increase from $572,856.70 to $646,211.12, an increase of $73,354.42 for the 5-year term as more fully described in the resolution. Item O, a resolution authorizing a spend limit increase for the existing blanket contract of number PA 100296, years 2 and 3, with Monday.com for the annual project management application now used citywide from $30,000 to $75,000, representing a total increase of $45,000 to cover the cost of licenses for additional users.
All right, council, you heard the reading.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Madam Clerk, item P.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the wastewater department to award contract number W-19-007-201, wet weather storage phase 6, Hickson Pump Station number 1 to Clark Construction Group, Sterling, Virginia, for 5 million gallons of wet weather storage for a new pumping station and associated conveyance piping improvements in the amount of $41,684,042.00, with a contingency in the amount of $4,168,404.20, for a total amount of $45,852,446.20.
Move to approve.
All right. So the motion properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Now we have reach purchases. Or purchase.
Yes, good evening. We have one purchase recommended for approval, and we have no RFPs, no emergency purchases, and no sole source purchases. From the Department of Technology Services, this is a request for a 10-month extension on citywide technology blanket agreement 556552 with CDW Government, Inc. in the amount of $5.5 million under Sourcewell Cooperative Agreement number 081419-CDW. The current contract expires on December 19th of 2023.
All right.
Second.
It's been motion to properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Now we reach committee reports. Councilman Henderson.
Madam Chair, I don't have a report, but I have, I think everybody noticed in the emails, the new park ordinance has been sent to each council person. Each council person could review that. I would, at your earliest convenience, like to put that in front of the secretary.
Okay, that's fine. We can do that maybe in 2 weeks. Is 2 weeks okay? Okay. All right. Councilman Smith.
No report, Madam Chair.
All right, Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No report for committee, but I do have a note from the Regional Planning Agency that would like to remind everybody to fill out the growth plan survey. It does end September 25th at 11:59 p.m. If you would go to planchattanooga.org and be a part of planning our city. Not just talking about it, but be a part of planning our city. I think that would be really, really helpful. And also, if you allow me to continue to recognize Mr. Jackson Dooley, who is learning about our civic engagement process, and he's becoming quite a regular here, and I just wanted to make sure everybody knows he's down there, and he's taking good notes. Thank you, Jackson.
All right. All right, thank you, Councilman Ledford. Councilman Hester?
We met today, and I want to thank Scott Martin for his report, Parks and Outdoors. Thank you.
All right, Councilwoman Coonrod?
Economic development and community engagement that we together today. Yes,
Yes.
Also on Thursday, September 21st, District 9 will be hosting a joint economic development and chamber of commerce meeting. It will be at Live Chattanooga at 29 It's not just for District 9, it's for the whole city of Chattanooga. If you want to come and you want to engage in questions about what's the role of economic development within the city, what are we doing, and then also if you want to know the vetting process or what the chamber of commerce uses, please come out. 6 o'clock.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman Coonrod. Councilwoman Knoll?
No report, Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Burrs?
No report, Madam Chair.
Madam Vice Chair Hill?
No report.
All right, now, we have an announcement by our city attorney.
Yes, ma'am. We were engaged in mediation this past week, and we have agreed to present and recommend to the city council the payment of the sum of $175,000 to Centagro for fuel surcharges in connection with that case. I wanted to make sure we presented that during the public meeting.
All right, thank you so much, Phil. Now comes time, people who would like to address the council. If you would like to address the council, please line up behind this podium here as our attorney reads the rules.
Yes, ma'am. At the end of each business meeting for the city council, the chair will recognize members of the public who wish to address the council, and here's your rules. Each speaker wishing to address the council can only be recognized up front at the microphone that's provided for that purpose. You can't have more than 3 minutes to speak, and you can address the council only upon matters within their legislative and quasi-judicial authority and not upon matters which are not under their authority or regulated by other governmental bodies or agencies. Can't use vulgar or obscene language nor use the floor to personally attack or personally denigrate others, and address the council as a whole and not make comments directed towards individual council members. And lastly, do not engage in disorderly conduct or disrupting a public meeting, which is prohibited by Tennessee law, and someone commits that offense if the person substantially obstructs or interferes with the meeting by physical action or verbal utterance with the intent to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting or gathering. Having stated those rules, please come forward, ma'am, and talk in the microphone. Let them know who you are. Thank you.
All right.
Hi, my name is Sharon Dragg, and I'm from College Hill Courts, and I'm here to thank you all for the matter y'all and the decision that y'all made today on the Sheila Jennings Park. And Ms. Coonrod, I can believe you didn't know where it was. So I want to ask y'all, is 35% of the community going to be involved in the construction of that? Are you all who I asked?
Are you asking?
I'm asking 35% of the community, when they restruct and rebuild the park, are we gonna have a chance to help build it? Because it said 35% of your community can be involved.
Oh, you can, right behind you, Jermaine, right there, you
Oh, I
can
can do it.
ask him all the questions you want. Plenty of them.
Oh, girl, you know I'm gonna get him.
Give them to
Okay.
Sharon, please do, on my behalf. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Let me see.
Thank you.
All right,
Thought you was trying to cheat me out of my time.
promise we weren't.
First of all, my name's Edward Green Jr. I'm a resident of District 9. I want to thank Mr. Freeman for getting the claim in process, giving the information for the claim that I incurred the damage on my car. Secondly, I come as a representative from people who live in District 5 and District 6 who have a complaint with the Wilcox Tunnel and the Missionary Ridge Tunnel. I'm sure that this is not the only complaint that you all have received. it is ridiculous that the lighting in those tunnels are not visible. I'm sure that somebody on this commission has contact with the lighting department for the city and the state. We don't want someone to get hurt in those tunnels because they cannot see. So I am making an appeal on behalf of the people who live in that area, because someone came up to me last night and said that we needed to address that issue. We don't need to address it. You all need to address it for us. Please help us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Green. I'm sorry. Councilwoman Coonrod, thank you. Can we get somebody from the Transportation Department to take a look at the Wilcox Tunnel? I know we own the Wilcox Tunnel for the lights, and I'm not sure if they come with the routine maintenance that they got scheduled. But I know the state own the other tunnel.
So Brainerd Road is a state route, so TDOT, I believe, is working on that tunnel. But I'll follow up with Mr. Green.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Steady, Councilwoman Coonrod? All right. Well, Mr. Bell?
Oh, well, thanks, Madam Chair. Now I feel cheated. I was waiting on the introduction. Monty Bell, the homeless journalist, gray-haired fox man with the billion-dollar voice. I heard through the grapevine that Mr. Kelly is going to run for the city mayor's office again. I brought tonight so much, but there's so limited amount of time. Monty Bell is going to do the same thing again, but I'm not running from a homeless encampment where you all put a hit out on me, among other things. Not this time. Now, W. Gerald Tidwell Jr., Jerry Summers, I'm going to put out an injunction that we can no longer have the city attorney, the attorney Jerry Summers, and all of these other folk at the Hamilton County Election Commission as an appointment. And nobody that runs for an office is in charge of the Hamilton County Election Commission. No one at the Hamilton County Election Commission is elected by anybody in the city or the county or the state. It's an appointment, and you're making decisions in my city. This reads that the police department was wrong in the judge shopping hearings. As you hear in the disclaimer, there are things prohibited. Judge shopping is prohibited in the state of Tennessee. Ever since the attorney, Phil Nolwood, has been here, there's been racketeering and judge shopping. The entire life of Monty Bell's existence here in his own hometown. I've said repeatedly, we have too many people in my town who's not from here. That means born from Erlanger, Memorial, Park Ridge, and you're making decisions on the people here. Making mincemeats out of the citizens. When I come back next week, I'm going to read where CPD and their whole department policy was fraudulent in the judge shopping hearings of 2009, 2010 against Monty Bell. I'm going to read to you what Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency committed fraud on the court, the entire 11th Judicial District Court in the state of Tennessee. Phil Nolwood was there the whole time. I think it's called Nelson, McMahon, Parker. We're going to charge that Parker with being Jenny Parker, a person that doesn't even have an address. You know, Larry Henry didn't like that here last week. Monty, who's Parker in my court doesn't have an address? Well, let's talk to the city attorney about that and the county attorney. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. All right. Council, I don't see anyone else wishing to address the council. Meeting adjourned.